Hello and namaste. Welcome to Ishwara's Take. My name is Ishwara, and this is my opinion on the world events that are happening right now. Recently, there was a lot of uproar on social media that because of the Diwali celebrations that we had across the country, the pollution levels of different cities have increased. Right. So I wanted to actually do a deep dive on this to understand what is this pollution level and how does it actually affect human life. Right. So a good metric to understand here is something called as AQI, which is Air Quality Index. It's actually a metric to monitor the level of air pollution that you have in a given piece of land that can impact your life and can lead to cardiovascular or respiratory related problems. Right. So for example, if you are in a place where the AQI is high or severe, and you breathe that air, so there's a potential, a possibility that you may get respiratory issues like irritation, choking, and depending upon your health conditions, right? If you are already having certain similar problems or problems related to your blood circulation in the body or something related to cardiovascular stuff, right? It can even get worsened, or it can also impede the way that you are able to think, walk, and do your normal activities. Right? You have to literally wear a mask and be in those kind of situations. I know this concept is nothing new for a lot of people in India, especially the people who live in northern part of India, because the air quality index AQI for the northern region of India across the Himalayan range is actually very, very bad. Right. So take for example Delhi. Right. Delhi's AQI is one of the least or the worst in India. The reason being, there are a lot of reasons for that. We'll get into the reasons, but we'll try to understand what is a good AQI, what is a safe AQI. So there are different reasons why, different ways in which different countries they calculate the AQI, but more or less the numbers and the ranges are something similar. So if the AQI is something less than 100 or less than 100, so it is considered to be a very good or safe air, right? The pollution level of the air is very less, right? So if the AQI is more than 100, it is considered as risky, dangerous. It can cause lots of issues. And if the AQI is beyond 200 or beyond 300, it's considered dangerous. And sadly, most of the metros in the country have an AQI which is beyond 200, right? And especially on a Diwali night and the day following the Diwali celebration, the AQI goes up beyond 300 for many major metros of the country, right? So keeping all these things in mind, we wanted to understand, what does AQI measure, right? And AQI measures the amount of the carbon monoxide that you have in the air, the sulfur dioxide, which is very hazardous, nitrogen dioxide again, which is again hazardous, the amount of ozone particles that you have at the ground level, right? And there's something else called as the particles. Particles are basically the small things that are there in the air. They float in the air, and they have a particular size, which is in micro millimeters, right? So if the particle size is PM, particle size is about 2.5, it's still considered, right? It's risky, but it's still fine. We can live with that, okay? But if the particle size goes up anything beyond 100, it's considered as very, very dangerous, right? What are the primary reasons? Let's look at the reasons why you have a very bad quality of the air, right? I think one of the reasons is that primary reason is that, of course, you burn the fossil fuels in different thermal plants and factories, like coal, you have gasoline, you have oil. All these things are these are fossil fuels, and these are used to run these thermal plants. But you need these thermal plants. You cannot get away from these thermal plants. So there are other reasons, other reasons, like the combustion that comes out of the automobiles, like in the vehicles that everyone uses. That is also one more reason. why you have a lot of air pollution. As a result, the AQI also increases. People also burn. We are an agricultural country. We burn a lot of waste that comes from agricultural lands, the stubble, that's how we call it. So the stubble also generates a lot of smoke, which releases a lot of sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide and carbon monoxide. As a result of that, again, there's an ozone depletion because of that. Again, all these things combined together, right? They create that smog in the air, and then they pollute the air. These are the reasons there. There are other reasons as well, but those are not man-made. For example, there are volcanic eruptions, there are wildfires, but in India you don't have the wildfires and don't have volcanic eruptions as such. But across the world, you have these natural calamities which also cause the pollution in the air. Let's also look at this particular concept here, that why is the air pollution more in a city, right? Is it because they are very badly designed? Of course, that is also a good area to ponder, that that the city is not well designed, right? But I would not get into that level right now. The reason being that the factories or the thermal power plants or the industries, right? They are usually located outside the city. When they construct these industries, they make sure that these are constructed somewhere outside the city. But over a period of time, as the city grows, right? As the city expands, or the population of the city increases, right? The city expands to such a level that the plants and the industries and the factories, they become part of the city. They are no longer outside somewhere, like 100 kilometers outside the city. They become part of the city. So as the number of people within the city actually increase, the people consumption of the vehicles and the usage of transport, everything increases. So as a result of that, we can see that there is a lot of combustion that is causing the air pollution. That's one of the reasons, and one of the primary reasons why we have air pollution in the metros, right? And if you look at the cities like Delhi, Bombay, Kolkata, Chennai, Hyderabad, right, and Bangalore, these are densely populated, and the number of vehicles that you have in these cities is also large as compared to the rest of the country. And therefore, that's the reason, as therefore you have the combustion that is coming from these vehicles is also the primary reason why you have the very poor air quality index in these cities. Combined with that, if you add the pollution that is coming out of the Diwali celebration in these cities, it literally is in a way that these cities are not so livable. Let's look at how we can actually improve the air quality index of these metros. So one of the reasons that I mentioned was, and that's very much popularly known, is that the number of vehicles that are there in the cities is more, and the combustion coming from those vehicles is one of the major contributors of AQI, or increased AQI in these metros and these cities, right? So if you can reduce the number of vehicles by improving the public transport system, in that way people can begin to use the public transport system more and reduce their personal vehicles, and that will in turn impact in the way that the AQI will reduce. As a result, the air becomes more and more clean, and the pollution in the air pollution also reduces. So that is one of the most effective way that is known so far, that how we can reduce the AQI in the major cities. There are other ways as well, stay away from the thermal power plants, do not expand the city. But those are not the possible ways, or you can think of that can happen, or the government will approve such kind of things. But that's because people are already living across around these thermal power plants and industries and factories, so that's not a feasible way. But I think the most feasible way is that to increase the number of electric vehicles in the city, and to improve the public transport system. These are the two most effective ways in which we can reduce the air quality index, or improve the air quality index to a lesser number, less than 100. The other reason is that the other important thing that we will have to consciously do is that, when we celebrate the Diwali celebrations, right? See, like we all know that, Diwali is a festival of lights. It's not a festival of crackers and sounds. So if we can consciously reduce the burning of crackers to very less number of crackers, maybe if we spend like 2000 rupees on buying crackers, maybe reduce that to 50%. In that way also we can reduce the air pollution by 50% at least in these major cities. Those are the updates that I have right now. So let's plan and try to contribute to improving the air quality of our cities. With that, I take leave. Thank you. Bye.